Welcome.
You guys see it or no? The ingredients page.
All right. Hi, Kayla. Good to see you guys. All right. Well, welcome everyone to World Languages and Culture with Cooking. Today we are traveling to New Zealand. And you see our awesome recipe there. We are going to be making a mince and cheese pie today. And these are actually really famous and popular. You can find them everywhere in like almost every store in New Zealand. And so we're going to learn a little bit about New Zealand. And there are actually some really, really awesome facts about New Zealand. And you're going to want to travel there as well. Look, I do. Okay. And so Mr. Paul is going to share a little bit about New Zealand, and we're going to get cooking.
All right. Should I leave the ingredients up a little more or no? Can you guys hear me?
No, you can go ahead and start with the, yes, you can start with the with the information.
Okay. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all right, so New Zealand. I'm going to start with the flag as usual. So you see the flag, it looks a little bit like the British flag. That's because of some deep-rooted history. So New Zealand is an islands nation close to and on the continent of Australia. So when you say Australia, you can be talking about either the country or the continent. If you're talking about the continent, New Zealand is included on that. And you see on the map there that it's very small and it's surrounded by water, which is what constitutes it as an island. So the main language obviously is English. However, they have different ethnic groups, the most popular being the Maori. And the Maori language is what we're going to be covering today, since you all obviously speak English. So we'll start with hello, simply is Tēnā koutou, if you guys want to try that one. All right, good. And goodbye is kia ora.
Kia ora.
How are you? Kei te peiako.
Kei te peiako.
Very good. Beach is takutai.
Takutai.
Friend is hoa.
Hoa.
Cook is tunu.
Tunu. Tunu.
Mother is waea.
Waea.
And father is papa.
Papa.
All right, very good. So yeah, as I said before, they have 3 official languages: English, the Maori language, and the New Zealand Sign Language. So New Zealand culture a little bit. So the most popular sport in New Zealand is rugby, which I thought was very interesting. They really like coffee in New Zealand. And you see, I put New Zealanders, aka Kiwis, and I'll get to that on the next slide. And I also thought it was really cool that there's 6 sheep for every person in New Zealand. They're the country with the most sheep per capita. So I thought that was a really cool fact. Some popular New Zealand dishes are key lime pie, fish and chips, and hangi, which is one of the ethnic dishes. It's served with like different meats and vegetables. I was really interested in key lime pie because I didn't realize it came from New Zealand. It's like one of my favorite desserts. So, I mean, back to the Kiwi thing. So New Zealanders are referred to as Kiwis because of the Kiwi bird, which is the New Zealand national bird. And their soldiers during World War I were called Kiwis, and the nickname stuck with them. I thought, like, talking about like current events, New Zealand is almost completely COVID free. I checked, and yesterday they had literally just 1 COVID case. Meanwhile, we have like hundreds of thousands in the US. So it seems like their strict lockdown successfully stopped the community spread of the virus. And if you go to New Zealand right now, well, you can't go, but if we could go, you don't have to wear a mask there anywhere, and you can go to like huge concerts and restaurants, and it's basically like they're living in 2019, which I thought was interesting. Also, since it's Women's History Month, I thought it would be fitting to include that New Zealand was the first country in the world to give women the right to vote in 1893. So before the US, before the UK, all of those countries, New Zealand was the first to allow women to vote. So that was just a little bit about the country. And without further ado, I'll have Miss Christelle take it over for the food lesson.
Hey, all right. That is awesome. So you guys, when you go to New Zealand, or if you're talking to someone who is from New Zealand, what may they call you? Like in California, we say, oh, we're Californians. What will they call someone from New Zealand? Do you guys remember? Mr. Paul said it. It's like the animal. It's okay. It's the same name as a fruit, but it's an animal. It's the national bird there.
Kiwi.
Come on, Kiwi. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
I like Kiwi.
So a really interesting fact about the Kiwis is that they don't fly. So what's interesting, you're like, well, how did that bird get there if it doesn't fly, right? Because birds fly, right? But just like the Kiwi is a very interesting animal in New Zealand, they have so many other interesting animals as well too. Like they have an animal that's called a weta, and it's in the cricket family, and it's basically like a giant cockroach. It's huge. So I want you to look it up when you have a minute. It's called a weta, W-E-T-A, right? So really, really cool. So there's also volcanoes in New Zealand, right? So when you travel there, you want to be mindful of all these different things. Just know you might see some animals, you may see some kiwis, you may see some wetas, you may see the giant slugs that are there as well. So just like when I went to Dallas a couple years back, there are huge crickets there in Dallas, Texas, right? Compared to in California, like you really see them that big. So can you imagine seeing a giant cricket or a giant slug like just hanging out on the tree like, oh yeah, hey, right? So I want you guys to be aware of when we travel, you're going to see new animals, you're going to see new things, you're going to see new people, you're going to try new foods. All those things make all these different countries really unique, special, and really awesome to travel to. Okay, so once everything opens back up and you're ready to travel, you'll be there in New Zealand hanging out with the Kiwis, right? Yes, Destiny, I see your hands. Woo! All right, so we are going to start with our mince and cheese pies. We're going to start with chopping our onions, carrots, celery, and garlic. And like I mentioned, in New Zealand, you can find these everywhere. And of course, they have all these different kinds of fillings. So, okay. Is that better? Okay, I'm sorry for the ringing, you guys. Okay. So, so let's get chopping with our onions and our carrots, celery, and garlic. Get it better here. Really? Okay, hold on. Technical support, you guys. Technical.
Are we cutting everything in squares?
Yes, we are in squares.
Well,
Pick D2. Yep, we're gonna do it in squares, and because we're gonna saute this into our meat, we are we're gonna chop them into nice squares. So I'm actually gonna start with my celery, and so I just have my stalks here, and I kind of just broke it in half, but you can cut it in half. And we're just gonna go in those small squares. If your celery is kind of huge, then you can cut it down the middle like this. And so that automatically gives you a really good square. And then you could kind of just group them together, line them all up. And then remember our hands, we want to crouch them under, like if you're holding an orange, right? We don't want to get our fingers in there. All right. And so put these in a bowl just to a side.
I have a question. Are we cutting our celery in squares?
Yes. Yes, we are. So we're just cutting them straight across. And cut all of your stalks. So you should have like your 2 stalks there. And I'm actually gonna cut the carrot next. Oh, good job, Destiny.
Also, everyone in between, you know, your little chopping and everything, whenever you have time, just please put your full first and last name in the chat for attendance. If you already did it, don't worry about it. But I know some of you haven't yet, so just please do that so you can get credit and your Wooten dollars too.
Mm-hmm. So, can anybody remember how to say dad in, what is it?
Papa.
Maori? Yeah, who said that?
Destiny.
Come on, Destiny. Good job. Mr. Paul, do you have one that you want to ask them?
Yeah, sure. Do you guys remember how to say mother? Come on, I know someone knows it.
And if you don't remember, just refresh us, Mr. Paul.
All right, so hold on, I just want to pull the.
Is it awa?
Well, sorry, it was a little staticky. Say it again.
Awa.
Very close. It was waia.
Why?
What about
Did I
what
say
we're doing right
Did I
now?
say
We're cooking. How do you say cook? Anybody?
Do you say what?
Cook. Do you guys remember? So that one's actually too new.
Okay, so Mr. Paul, Waia is mom.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cook?
Too new.
To be to do.
So we have to connect it with things that that's gonna help us to remember. So too new, like you're too new for school, or too that's too cool for school, but too new, like something that you bought was too new. So too new, right? So that's something to help you remember.
Also, you could think about tuna. Tuna's food, and it means cook. So.
Nice. Okay, that's a good one too. So tuna. So too new, like tuna, too new. So how do you guys say mom in the Maori language?
Come on, guys, we just did it. You know it.
Any takers?
What?
Say it again, Kayla. I don't know where she went. But it's too new.
No, that's cook.
Oh,
Mother
that's
is
cook. I'm sorry.
Waea.
Waea. Waea. Like why? A. Waea.
Like why, mom?
Right. Why, mom? Waea. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna ask you guys some more about the words at even as we continue throughout the class, okay? So I just chopped the carrots. So we cut them in half and we laid them flat, and then we just kept cutting straight across. You should have your carrots. And if you notice, your carrots and your celery are kind of about the same size, right? So when we look at proportions, we want to have the same kind of bite. Nothing too big nor too small, kind of about the same size, not perfectly exactly. That's, it doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to be about the same size. All right, I'm also gonna work on our onions. So if you have your, my onion was a little bit bigger today, and I know I said for you guys to get a medium onion. So if you have a really big onion, you can cut it in half, and we'll just use 1/2 of it. And if you have your medium onion, you can just use the whole onion. And I'm gonna cut off the back there. Take off all this brown, this outer layer of skin. All right, so we're laying our onion face down. And so let's cut this way into our onion.
I have another question. So what are we gonna cut a rectangle to squares?
No, so if it's a rectangle, it's fine. Just as long as it's not like a giant rectangle.
A carrot into squares.
So your carrot, it's not gonna really be squares. It's almost like a half moon, right? Because your carrots are circles. So we cut them in half, and then we just cut them straight across. Okay. Let me see yours, Des. How are you cutting yours? Can we see her view, Mr. Mario, as well? Okay, yay. So remember so we're using 1 carrot, or if you're gonna, we're using 1 carrot. Oh, you're taking off the skin. Okay, great. Just a reminder about your onion. So if you notice, my onion is a little I cut it so it's a little taller. And so as I'm chopping, I'm noticing that I'm at a point where I kind of want to twist it a little bit. So I can actually turn my onion and just kind of go around on the sides. So spin your onion. Yep.
Miss, it's fine. Deja que espere de hablar.
Here's that. So cut your carrots in half down the middle. And then lay them flat on the board so they're not rolling around. And then you're just gonna cut them straight across.
Just 1 carrot?
Yes. If you have a lot of and as we do this, you guys, because you'll see, like, if you depending on how much meat or turkey you have, like if you're cooking for your family, if you have, because normally when we cook for about 2 to 4 people. So if you have more people in your family, you can add, so like if, like Destiny, if you have more in your family, then instead of adding 1 carrot, maybe add 2 carrots, right? So everybody will be able to have enough food. I'm just gonna make another little pocket right here, put my onions on the side, because all this is gonna go into the same place with my meat. And then let's do the garlic next. D2 and Trinity, how are you guys doing? Kayla, how are you guys doing?
I'm gonna say two things. One, it's not Trinity, it's Kennedy.
Ah, it's Kennedy. Oh my goodness.
And also, yes, we're waiting. Yes, on the garlic.
You're waiting on the, oh, you're ready for the garlic?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Kennedy, I apologize. Kennedy. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
you're good.
No, but thank you for letting me know, D2, because I want to say your name correctly, okay? All right, so for our garlic, we're gonna, if you have a flat chopping knife like I do here, lay it flat and be careful. You're just gonna hit straight down on it like that, okay? And this one is a little, this is like a pretty big clove I have here. So just be careful and just push straight down on it. And then we're just gonna take off that skin. See how it just folds right off? Really easy. So you don't have to stay there forever peeling a piece of garlic. And then we're just gonna chop it, you can cut it in half. You can take off that little end there at the back. It has a very big stem. And then we're just gonna cut it straight across.
Put the garlic. Do we put the garlic where our carrots and celery?
Yes, you do. Because it's all gonna go into the meat.
Okay, let's.
And so as you're chopping your garlic, if you have a chopping knife like I do here, you can hold the front, put your hand on the top of the knife here, and then you could just rock your knife side to side, and that's gonna get all of those. If you notice, I'm sliding it, so I'm grouping them together, and then I go. And when you see the people who are on the cooking shows and they're chopping, sometimes they do it.
So how are we gonna cut our onion?
So cut your onion in half. Cut your onion in half, and then cut into it, like going sideways like this. So if you have your onion, you're gonna cut into it going this way. Or cut into it going this way, and then cut straight down into it like that, and then cut straight across.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I think this is good. This is like a minced garlic as far as the size that we've cut them here. Let's put it right next to our garlic. I mean our onions and our other veggies. This is a good time for you to wash your hands from chopping all that garlic and onions. And then all right, so you want to saute. So I have some ground beef here. You could use turkey, or you can use ground turkey, or if you are using vegetables, you can do the kale. You can do your kale, your mushrooms as a substitute for your filling. Oh, one thing I was going to say about the filling. This filling, like I was looking at as I was doing my research, they put cheesy chicken in it. They put sauteed vegetables in it. They put all kinds of really good stuff in it. So when we do this, it's gonna be so good. All right, so you want to put medium heat on your fire, and you're gonna start sauteing your ground beef until it's brown. And then we're gonna add in the vegetables that we just chopped. And then we're gonna start adding in some more of our seasonings. So let's turn on our fire, our stove under our stew pot, and let's get that meat going. And you're gonna see it give off some of its natural oils, and then that's gonna saute the vegetables. So you don't need to add additional oil, okay? And depending on your ground beef, like this one I got, it was 80% lean and 20% fat. So you'll see how much it gives off, and then you can add oil if you need to, but if you don't, you may not need to.
And we do olive oil.
You can use your olive oil, but don't start with adding oil into it first. Let your meat cook first, and you'll see how much oil it gives off. Okay, because you don't want to add excess oil. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna change my view, and we're gonna get cooking on the stove.
So, Miss, how are we gonna cut our garlic?
You're gonna chop them to where it's like a fine chop. All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I put my fire on medium heat, and I'm gonna put my meat in. I'm gonna let my pot warm up for a little bit, and then I'm gonna put my add the meat in to start cooking. Okay. So I'm gonna cover this down so it can cook, and then we'll add in the veggies. So we can give this a minute. So while this is cooking, you want to start getting your spices and your sauces. So we have our Dijon mustard, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce. Can you guys say that? Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? It's Worcestershire. Worcestershire.
Miss, do we put both of our ground turkey?
Say it again.
Do we put both of our ground turkey or just one?
How many pounds of ground turkey do you have?
Two.
Yes, you could put the 2 pounds of ground turkey in here.
Thank you.
So let's get our because thing is, as this cooks and we add in the veggies, we're gonna put in all the sauces so we can just kind of have them ready. And we're gonna come back over to the table in a little bit and start getting our pastry ready for when it is it's time. So we have the Worcestershire sauce.
Are we putting them in right now?
No, we're letting our meat cook for a little bit. So if you notice, like my meat is giving off some water.
Yeah.
And so you want the water to dry out. And you also want to see how much oil it gives off as well. Because that's going to let you know how much, like if you need to add any olive oil. But I don't think your meat, even with your turkey, it's going to give off some oils as well. And so you can kind of really look at it and see. But like that's still pink, so I'm going to let it still keep cooking.
Okay.
You're welcome. Let's let that cooking. And we have some Dijon mustard. And the tomato paste. Tomato paste, so we can see to have these ready. And then like your salt and pepper. So while this is going, we have our veggies and the sauces and everything ready for right there. And so in the meantime, let's start rolling out our circles for the to put in our cupcake pans to actually make the pies. And you're going to need your rolling pin. So is everybody's meat on the stove?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm back here at the table, and while that meat is cooking, let's start rolling out our we're gonna start rolling out our puff pastry. Did you guys have an okay finding puff pastry, or even if it was like the croissant, not a biscuit, but like a croissant dough?
I couldn't find puff pastries. I just got pie crust.
And that's fine too.
And
Yeah.
the burrito. And I was gonna try the biscuit, flaky layer biscuit dough and see what happens.
Okay, so you did get some of the, like this one?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. So this is like the equivalent to puff pastry, because it's gonna, so just like how you see the picture, it's puffed up and it has the flaky layers. Exactly.
Yeah. I watched the video, by the way.
Wonderful. Yes, that's why I put the videos because the thing is, and I know sometimes you guys will call. Sometimes you guys will call and say, "Hey, Miss Christelle, I didn't see." I remember one time we went to one of those countries and the store didn't have green lentils, but they had yellow lentils. You can get the other, if on our menu it says green lentils, but you see.
Miss, is the one I got okay?
Yes. Those are gonna be just fine too.
So we're not gonna put no seasonings in our thing.
We're gonna let our meat cook for some more. Let it cook down some more. So keep that cover on it. And in a little bit, we're gonna check it, and then we're gonna add in all those seasonings and sauces and the vegetables.
Garlic too.
Yep. And the garlic. So make sure your hands are washed from all the chopping we did with all the onions and all the meat, because now we're working with dough. So you want to make sure your hands are clean very well. Okay. From either I don't know if you touch that meat a little bit, or from the onions, you want to wash your hands really well with soap and water. You can wash it like 3 times just to make sure you have some really, really clean hands. Okay, because we're going to be rolling out this dough.
So, Miss, for the croissants, is it gonna be the same as the dough?
It's going to be
I can't hear you.
your croissant is actually going to be like yeah, because you're going to roll it out the same way. So like the ones I have here. So put a little flour on your area right there. So Destiny, for yours that say croissants, just roll them. You're gonna roll them out because the thing is we're gonna put them in our cupcake pans, right? And so the thing is we're gonna, depending on the size of your cupcake pan, we're gonna roll it out so it can fit in there.
Miss Christelle. Miss Christelle.
Yes.
The little thingies that I got, mine are already like flat.
You said yours are already flat?
Yeah.
Perfect. So if they're already flat, then you can grab I have 2 medium-sized bowls. I have one that's small, like you see how they fit in each other. So one for the top, and then the other one is going to be for the bigger circle, right? So if you have it flat already, if you notice, you see how that's about the same circumference. That's a math for you guys. It's the same circumference. That's the distance around on your bowl here, and you can kind of test it. Make sure it fits inside of your. We're gonna put some oil in here, but make sure it fits. Like if you were to press it down in here, like does it fit all the way in? And I think that's a good size because after I put the top and we fill it up, it's gonna cover it really well. Okay, so I think this is a good size. I may roll it out just a little bit more so I have an extra, the same amount of lip hanging around. Okay, so kind of test it based on your cupcake size. And if you have, like how you're saying, Kayla, you have yours, you can take your bowl and press it out and make the circular round. And then you'll have all these circles. Or in this case, for this one, the circles are kind of already made, and I just have to kind of roll them out a little bit. So I kind of have to gauge and make them about the same size. And so the thing is, you guys remember, you're gonna do one for the top and the bottom. So this size may be for my bottom. So I may go like this and kind of just cut it out. Do that again. So like that. Okay, so I should have a big one to go inside of the cupcake and then a smaller one to go on top to cover it. All right, do you guys smell your meat? If you're smelling your meat, that means it's doing some good stuff. And check on it. And now is a good time to add in your vegetables. So check on it, see if it has a lot of liquid in it. Crack the top of the pot so that the steam can come out, and it could evaporate and release the water. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys mine really quick. It's looking good. All right, so you see how there's no more liquid in there now? So all that water dried out, but you notice how the bottom of the pan is, it has some oils down there at the bottom, right? So that's good. So I'm just gonna push my meat a little bit to the side. Let's add in those vegetables. Okay. Let's put in our mustard, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, tomato paste, and we're going to combine that first. And we're using 2 tablespoons for all of these. Okay, so that's 1 tablespoon.
Miss, can I use this to make the circle of my dough?
You said what about your dough?
Can I use this so I can just make the circle for the dough?
All right, so you guys, we just added in the Dijon mustard. So let's add in 2 tablespoons of the Worcestershire sauce. That's about 1. 2. And you guys have you guys ever tasted Worcestershire sauce before? Put a little bit on your finger and taste it. All right. Then we're gonna put 2 tablespoons of our tomato paste. That's about 1. That's about 2.
Miss, we add 2 tablespoons of this?
Of which one?
Of this one. Can you see it?
Dusty doesn't say Worcestershire or soy sauce.
I said, are we going to use this for the 2 tablespoons of our ground something that we're cooking right now?
Right, so we're adding 2 tablespoons of the Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of the soy sauce, tomato paste.
What are we doing on the turkey?
What'd you say? So yes, you're gonna put it in the turkey. Okay. So I'm adding my soy sauce. So that's 1 tablespoon. Another tablespoon. Okay. So make sure you stir those in really well. And we're gonna add your you can add some salt and pepper. And let's add in our beef stock. We're gonna add in the beef stock, and we're gonna also add in the flour. That's gonna give it, it's gonna make it a little thick consistency. a cup of this beef broth into uh, your meat. Okay, so I've got a cup of that here.
Miss, what are we gonna do with our?
What are we gonna do with what? All right, so that's cooking really good. And then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm gonna put in some of my pepper. And salt. And at this point, you guys can give it a taste. Look at your meat. Your meat should be, you'll know that your meat is cooking well because it's brown. When you look at the color, it's brown. It's not pink in it. There's no pink in it at all. And the meat should have kind of like shrunk. It should have gotten smaller, right? I'm gonna add some salt here. And then let's add the 2 tablespoons of the flour. And the flour is just gonna make it thicker because when we put it in our pastry, in our puff pastry, we want it to be, we want it to have like a thick consistency a little bit. So just 2 tablespoons of flour. And remember, 1 tablespoon is not this. That's like a tower. You wanna scrape, you wanna kind of level it off. If you take a butter knife and just level it off a little bit. So really you should have like this much, okay? And spread it out and stir as you go because we don't want it to be like dumplings. So add it, kind of spread it out, sprinkle it.
Miss Crystal, how many tablespoons of soy sauce?
2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Yep. Okay, here's my next one. Kind of sprinkle it throughout. And this is where we're going to turn down our fire. We want to put it on medium heat. We're going to put it on low, and we want it to simmer. If you notice, mine doesn't have, there's not a lot of liquid in here, which is good. And you want to have it down on low heat. And the thing is, your meat should not be, it should not be mushy. It should be wet and moist, but not mushy. Like it shouldn't be soupy. It should have a thick consistency to it.
Miss, are we putting all of the tomato paste?
No, just 2 tablespoons. Okay.
Can I put all of the tomato paste?
You said, can you put all of it?
No, I said, can I put all of the tomato paste?
2 tablespoons of it. Put 2 tablespoons into the pot. This is a good time to give your meat a taste and see if it needs anything. How does it taste, you guys? Whoop. Okay, so we're on a low fire. And I'm gonna cover it back down, and we're just gonna let it cook for a little bit more. But not for too much longer. We're just gonna probably let it cook for another like 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, on a low fire. All right, so is everybody good with their meat? Is everybody's meat simmering on a low fire? All right, we're gonna come back over to our pastry time. Puff pastry.
Miss, did you add water to your thing that we're doing right now?
What'd you say?
Miss Christelle?
Can you say time? Yeah.
Did you add water?
No, we just put the beef stock.
The what?
The beef stock or the beef broth.
How many tablespoons?
You're gonna put 1 cup of your beef broth.
Is it chicken broth or beef broth? We have both.
So then you can do the chicken broth, because I know you're doing it with turkey. So you can do the chicken broth.
How many of the chicken broths?
So you're gonna put 1 cup of your chicken broth.
This one? Just 1 cup, right?
Uh-huh, exactly. All right, so for those of you whose meat is simmering, let's come back over to our puff pastry. Well, you want to measure out 1 cup, Destiny. Yeah.
How many ounces is it?
How many ounces?
Alia, dile.
Oh, it's 1 ounce.
No, Alia, dile.
Where?
Mira la cosa. Volteatela todo. Mira enfrente. Aquí. Apréndele al niño.
It's right here, miss.
Órale, vete a tu cuarto.
It's 14.5 ounces.
Okay, so then you're gonna pour. So if we need 8 ounces, so 14 ounces would be half of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're using some math now, right? 14 is half. So if we need 8 ounces, then we just need a little bit more than half. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Miss Christelle.
Ponte los audífonos.
Okay.
I'm glad you're saying this, Destiny, because in your math classes, you guys, you're gonna have measurements. Okay, and just like when you're cooking, you're gonna be looking at amounts and measurements, and so you want to be able to think about what you're, putting in your food, like how if that can has 16 or 14, I'm sorry, and you want to get 8 out of it. All right. So you guys check on your meat. You should be able to turn it off now.
Okay.
Is it cooked? Do you guys smell it? Your nose doesn't lie. Your nose tells you if it's doing some good stuff. So now is a good time to turn off your meat. And you want to leave the cover off because we want it to cool down. And because your pastry is kind of cold, you want that, you want your meat to cool down a little bit. And I think by the time we roll out all of these circles to fit into our pan, then it'll be a good temperature. So let's start fitting them in here as we go. So let's put some, you can take some olive oil if you have your brush, like I have a brush here. And put a little bit of olive oil. So you can just pour a little bit of olive oil into one of the little pockets.
Miss.
Yes.
So for chicken broth, do we take out the juice of it or no?
You said, does the chicken broth take out the juice from it? No, your chicken broth is actually it's gonna make it very juicy. So add in the 1 cup of your chicken broth.
Never mind, Miss Christelle.
You're welcome. And then, so brush all around. If you have a brush, great. If you don't, just use a piece of paper towel and dip it into pour some of your olive oil in here, like that. Let me scoop this down. So pour some of your olive oil and then just take your same paper towel and just brush all around each of those little cups there. You can kind of put a little bit around the top, just a little bit. So these are really great for like appetizers. So if you're having friends over, or if you're doing something that's like a finger food for a party, or
Miss, what is that?
A small gathering that you guys are having. Huh?
What is that you're adding to the cupcake thing?
Oh, to the pan, just some olive oil.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the puff pastry that we rolled out. So like this was one of my circles, right? I'm gonna put it in here and press it into the space and be gentle and give it some.
What are we supposed to add to our cupcake thing?
You said if we're supposed to add eggs?
No, what are we supposed to add to our cupcake thing?
Oh, just some olive oil.
Do we add flour?
No, just the olive oil, because you're going to grease the pan first, and then you're going to put your circles that you rolled out, you're going to fit them in here, because we're going to fill them with the filling that we just cooked with the meat.
So I just put the chicken broth, so it might take a while for me.
Well, remember, you're going to add the 1 cup of chicken broth, 1 cup, and you're going to let that cook and turn your fire down on low so that it can simmer. And because we've been cooking at the same pace, it shouldn't take too much longer to finish.
Can I use this to do my holes, my circles? Yes,
you can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything that you have that's a circle. Anything, even if it's like a coffee mug or a teacup, a tea mug, anything that has a circle around it, a medium circle, and then you have like like a baby circle.
Miss Christelle,
Yeah.
are you skipping circles in the cupcake pan?
You said if I'm putting the circles into the cupcake pan?
Are you skipping circles in the cupcake pan?
Oh, I'm only skipping them because you notice how it has this flap right here?
Yeah.
So when we put the meat into it, when we put the meat in there, I'm gonna put this on top, and then we're gonna like make a pretty design and fold it over like that, right? So for right now, I'm just making some space. And so as our meat cools down and then we start filling them up and we roll out some more of our circles, then we'll fill up all of the circles.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's get rolling out some more. Make sure to take the cover off of your meat because we want it to cool down. Because our dough is cold or cool, if we have something that's really, really hot go onto it, then it's it may kind of like push through it because it's really hot. So we want it to cool down. So I'm trying to get as much as a circle as I can. In here. So it's like a little pocket of goodness. It should be about like like about half. This is an inch. You can kind of gauge like my finger like on the thickness, so it's not super thin, not super thick, because this is gonna puff up. And even for if you have the pie crust, it's the pie crust is not gonna puff up as much, but it's still gonna have that flaky, buttery consistency.
Miss, did you turn on the oven?
Oh yeah, that's Destiny. You are awesome. Yes, turn on your oven so it can start heating up.
To what degree?
We're going to put it on. We're going to put our oven on to 300. Let's do 350. 350 degrees. That's good stuff. That's teamwork. And so while that's going, our meat's cooling, we're rolling out our dough. D2, how are you guys coming? And Kennedy, how are you guys coming?
We are fine.
We're doing all right. It's all
All
been
right, good stuff.
It's-
You're getting all your circles really good and pin them into your pan. Oh, D2, I see your dough. Is that your dough there? Let's see that. Ooh, good. Oh, I see you talking, but you're muted.
It almost ripped.
What did you say?
It started to rip almost.
Okay, because you're making it too thin, so you don't want to make it super thin. We want it to have, let's see,
A little
I
bit.
would say about the thickness of
Why are they
like
being like
almost like you know, like the tip of your finger, like the thickness of like that first little tip there of your finger. Because remember, it has to hold the meat, so it can't be super thin. It still have to have some consistency, and you shouldn't be able to see through it. Well, if you were to hold it up to the light, it shouldn't be like you should see some like dark areas on it. It shouldn't be like paper thin. D2, does that help?
Yeah, I guess that helped.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna put this next one in here. So because I'm at this point right here on my cupcake pans, I'm going to actually start filling them up. And so that will allow me to have more space to get some of these other holes here, okay? Because I'll start kind of closing them up together. So I'm going to roll out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna make 7 of these smaller circles, and I'm gonna roll it out and just kind of press it out with my bowl here. And then I'm gonna get the meat, and then we're gonna start filling them up with the meat and the cheese.
I can't wait to taste it. So, Miss, I'm falling behind, but that's okay, right? Because
No, you're not too far from us. Cause where are you right now?
where you're making the things.
Oh, you're rolling them out.
Yeah. I already wrote. I'm just making it in a circle, so it's like making the masa. I know how to do it, but just like you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just like a masa.
Okay. I have a big center to make it. The big center is right here, so you know how since I love bacon, I just got this big one and it goes all over here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A little flour.
Alia,
Yeah?
ask her if you were supposed to add flour to the turkey.
Miss,
Yes.
I was supposed to add. Okay.
So 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons. We didn't do that.
Okay, but you're still good because if you're putting it in now, then that's good. Because the flour is just gonna make it thick. It's gonna give it a thick consistency.
You?
So rolling out. Okay. So I got 2 of those. Now, did you know when you go to New Zealand, it's 13 hours. It's going to take you 13 hours to get there.
Will a car make it?
Huh?
Will a car make it?
No, you have to go by airplane. Yeah, because remember, New Zealand, Mr. Paul, if possible, if you could pull New Zealand up on our, it's not maps of the world, it's maps of world. So we can see it in relation to like Australia and Asia, because they're neighbors. They're not super, it's not super far. And even kind of like in relation to America, because they are near the other Polynesian islands as well. So we could see it on a map. All right, that's my 3rd circle. So if you're still rolling your circles, if you're already made your circles already, you can start filling up your little your pocket here, your pie, with the meat. And you're gonna put like 2 tablespoons in here until it's full. And you're gonna put some cheese right on top of that. So I'm actually gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna start loading it in for those of you who are there. Who's ready to put their meat into the bowl? Oh yeah, so you guys look at the map, look at the map.
So here you see Australia's right there.
Yeah.
And then right next to it is New Zealand. And you guys are in California, so that's all the way down here. So as Miss Christelle said, how many hours? 13 hours you said?
13 hours.
So yeah, you have a plane because it's completely surrounded by water. It's an island nation. So it would be really far to go there. And you see here, it's completely surrounded by sea. So you're in like the Indian Ocean, I think. And you have all different islands. Like up there is Fiji. You have Tasmania, if I said that right. And the Tasman Sea right next to it.
And then you guys remember, our world is circular. So if you were to look at a globe, where you see New Zealand there, and even where it is in relation to the United States, it's almost like if you go a little bit more to the right, then you're gonna run into, America. You're gonna run into Central America, right? Because remember, it's a circle, right? So it's a circle that goes around like this. So, so I want you guys to be aware of where it is in the world. It's right near Australia, right? In Australia, they do a lot of these mince pies as well, but they have their own, little flair on it that makes it a little bit different. All right, so now we're gonna start filling up our pies. Your meat should be good and cool. Okay. So this is what my meat looks like here, right? So I'm actually gonna grab a tablespoon. So I'm gonna put it in there like that. So you can kind of see how much, how much it fills up there. Okay. So what I'm noticing is that one of these is filling up all of that. Okay. So depending on the size of your cupcake spaces, we'll let you know how much of this is going to go in. Because remember, we still have to have some space for our cheese. So put a little bit just like this, right on top. It's almost like a, you know, like a pinch, like when you grab it like that. And we're gonna take our egg. You should have your one egg. We're gonna beat it, and we're just gonna, if you have your brush or if you have your paper towel, we're going to just put the egg around the edges of the flaps here, and then cover it up and crimp it around. Okay, and we gotta pick up the pace, you guys, because our time is almost done. So I'm gonna crack an egg. Make sure there's no shells in here. And then beat it. Okay, I'm gonna use the same brush. Just put it around the ends like that. Or if you have your paper towel, just take your paper towel and go around like that. You do it for all of them. The one thing I really like about this recipe, you guys, is that you can really put whatever kind of filling you want in it. So you may create like your own flavor of mince pie that you like. So whatever fillings or vegetables or meat that you love, put it in it. I'm gonna put some on this one too. And after we put these in the oven, they'll probably bake for like another 15 to 20 minutes. Because remember, everything that's in them is already cooked. So it's really you just making the dough on the outside, just seeing for it to be flaky and brown. And have you guys been taking pictures of your food and posting them in a group? I haven't seen them in the group, in the on our page. So if you have them, you can send them to me. I can have you text it to the office number. All right, so I'm gonna cover it up. So I'm going to put it on top right here. And we're just going to kind of like crimp it over. And we're going to make it like a little design. So you could be creative with this. Go like that. Okay, so we've got like a little. So seal it. And you can just fold it over. And in New Zealand, they have like really pretty designs that they do to make it look really awesome. And so, so something like that. Okay. So press it around, fold it over. And after you fold these over, you're gonna make 3 little slits at the top across your pies here, and that's gonna leave a little breathing hole for your pies so that the steam can come out. Let me grab a knife really quick so I can show you. So just go like, so make sure it cuts all the way through the dough. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, and you know what too? We can even make, with your dough, if you want to cut out a letter of your name, and you can put it on top of your dough so you'll know that that's your pie. So if we have a D for D2, you can cut out your dough in the shape of a D and put D on top of here. Or if you have K for Kennedy, or D for Destiny, or K for Kayla, or C for Mr. Stale, or M for Mr. Mario, or P for Mr. Paul. Ooh, Kayla, you guys are looking good over there. Ooh, good job, good teamwork. Yeah. Miss Michelle, I see you guys rolling out really good there too. That's good. The ones that they make in New Zealand, like the video I posted on the site with this menu, they put them in bigger cups, almost like the size of this bowl, right? Could you imagine a pie that size? And then what's really cool, because when they say mince and cheese pies, they're thinking like a meat pie, right? With meat or vegetables inside. And here in the United States, when we think of a pie, we think of like pumpkin pie, pecan pie, sweet potato pie, apple pie, right? What is you guys' favorite pie? Do you guys have a favorite?
I don't like pie.
Which one?
I don't like pie.
You don't like pies. Okay, no problem. Like
I
Mr.
like
Mouse says-
pumpkin pie.
Ooh, pumpkin pie. Yum. That's good. So, like Mr. Paul said, he likes key lime pie. I love apple pies. They have all that cinnamon, and then you eat it with some like ice cream. Mm-mm-mm. Yum.
Miss Christelle, have you tried apple pie or blueberry pie?
Cherry pie.
I have not tried that.
My mom has tried it. Everything I named.
Uh-huh. That sounds really good. D2, I heard you say, did you say berry pie? Those pies sound really yummy. So don't forget to put your slits through here, you guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 more rounds for this pan. And we got to get it in the oven so we can eat it together. Oh, you know what? I didn't put, oh yeah, I did put the cheese. I sure did. Thought I forgot to put it. Ooh, just so you guys know, next week, we are going to be going to the Maldives. Do you guys know where that is?
Oh,
Okay, well, you're gonna know. You're gonna learn about it next week. And we're gonna be making a mango curry next week. So
What's that, Miss Christelle?
What'd you say?
What's that?
Oh, mango curry?
Yeah.
It's like, so it's mangoes, and you put some different curry seasonings in it, and you eat it with rice. You can eat it like just with the mangoes, or you can eat it with like a chicken. You can put chicken with it if you want to, but really, we're actually going to do it with just the mangoes. And we're going to put and then we do it like with onions, and we eat it with a side of rice. And because the Maldives is a tropical country,
Miss Christelle, are you there?
yes, I'm here. Okay, hold on. My view over here. Good. So because I know we still have to put them into the oven, when you guys are finished rolling them out, make sure to take a picture, okay? So I'm still gonna be here and with first to roll them out. And so take a picture. I'll send you guys a picture of what mine looks like as well. And be sure to take a picture, and you can still roll out all of your